Welcome to Brokk. Brokk is your AI-driven IDE focused on making large code bases a much easier task to handle. Within this application, the most important thing to touch on first is this instructions panel right here. Within this instructions panel, I'm going to give it the instruction to change the GUI theme of the entire application, and I'm going to tell it to scan for the relevant files within this code base. It has scanned through the whole code base now and identified these files as being relevant to what we want to change within the application. You will see here things are either labeled as being edit or summarize. You can change these within the drop-down menu here if you want to get rid of it entirely with omit, if you want it to be only read with read only, summarized with obviously summarize, or edited with the edit button. We are going to leave things just as they are for the time being, but these are all options you have when modifying your code. If you take a look down here, after we have finished modifying the workspace with our new context, you can see here that it has a large list of files here that are being summarized, and then everything else that's edited is broken down one by one. Now these are all things in your workspace that Brokk will modify with your future instructions. The next thing we are going to do here is we are going to ask it about the instruction up here with this ask button. Now you have these little carrots here that drop down and give you options for which model you'd like to ask with. We are going to stick with Gemini Pro 2.5 for today. Now that we have asked it the question, it is going to explain how GUI theming works in this application. It's telling us where the theme storage is, telling us about theme colors, Chrome. It orchestrates these changes through this method here, switch theme. It is going through the theme change process here, and so on. This is all important information to have when you're trying to edit the theme of any application you are looking for, and Brokk will be able to scan your code base and tell you exactly how it needs to be done. We're going to want to keep this information, so within this output window here, you see you have the options copy, capture, and open a new window. What we want to do is capture this, and that will add it to our workspace. So as you can see, it's down here as an ask, and change the theme of the entire application being the ask that we gave it. Now that we are armed with all of our new information in the workspace, I have added the instruction to change the GUI theme of the entire application back to the instructions panel. Now what we are going to want to do is we are going to tell it to code. The difference between code and architect is code is meant for simpler changes done to the code base. An architect is meant to be a multi-step agent able to call on many tools when the process you are trying to complete is lengthy or more intricate. So we are going to now click this code button. It will think, and it will give us all we need. Brokk has now made all the necessary code requirements that we have made to it. We didn't give it any instruction as to what we wanted the change to the GUI theme to be. We just said that we wanted to change the GUI theme of the entire application. So it has gone through and it has modified one file here, the themecolors.java file. Now, if we wanted to see exactly what change it has made to this, Brokk has now successfully verified the code blocks that we have replaced. And as you can see down here in the Git panel, it has added themecolors.java as one of the files that has changed, highlighted in blue when we are not hovering over it. So if we click the View Difference button, we'll be able to see what exactly it changed. So as you can see, the color for chat background used to be 37, 37, 37. It is now 20, 40, 60. And it will have these little slashes beside each one it has changed, and so on. Down here in the commit window, you can also right-click on it and tell it to capture the difference between the before and the after. And it will add this to the workspace as a difference of theme colors. Now this is useful for trying to see if the change you have made has caused some issue. So if you were to add the difference that has been made before from the before and the after to the theme colors.java or the colors.java, it will be able to scan through your workspace context, look at the difference, and see if that difference is what broke the application. Now, in this case, we are only changing the colors, so this should not introduce any problems unless the text that is showing on top of the color is unreadable. The next thing I'm going to demonstrate is the search feature here. This will search outside the current given context. And the instruction I've given it is add an issues tab to the Git panel. So when we click search, now as I've said, the search does an outside of the current context look through the code base based on the instruction you've given it. And Git panel is not something that is down here. It is telling us we'd want to modify the Git panel.java class in order to include a new tab in its J-tabbed pane, which is the issues tab we have told it to do. Through this, it will go through all of the modifications that you need to make to it in order to add this, the code changes, and so on. Now, if we actually want Brock to make this change, we will, again, want to capture this information from the capture window here by clicking capture. And now we are going to ask it to code this. But this time, we're not going to use the code button, we are going to use the architect button, because we want it to modify both the graphical user interface theme and add an issues tab to the Git panel down here, two separate operations. We have now input the instruction to add an issues tab to the Git panel and change the GUI theme to be darker with red buttons and accents around the application. Now we are going to click the architect button here, and it will go through all the things that we would like the architect agent to do and have access to. We are going to give it access to everything in this case, and it will manage the request. Now that the architect agent has completed my prompt, we will scroll back up to where it begun this step. So here's where we asked it, and here's where it begun. So it's pretty much going through a plan with itself on how it is going to do all of the things we have asked it to do. It's creating a new file for the issue tab.panel. Here you can see it make the modifications to the newly created file, modify the previous file for getpanel.java. It will then verify that that step is complete, and then it will move on to this, where it does the GUI theme changes. Here you can see the modified files for the themes, and it has verified once again that it completed with SBT compile. It goes through the planning by assessing the theme implementation, the button styling, and exploring color integration. And again, it has told us what files it has modified, verified them once again, and gave us its plan. Now here you'll see in the system messages, the architect is complete, meaning all these changes have taken place. And you can see down here that it has added some changes to files and added a new file. So this issues tab panel.java, highlighted in green, is a new file. These three other ones are all files it had to make changes to in order to complete my prompt. We are going to then do a capture on this, so it has all of the change that is made in its memory for later. And now we have completed our prompt. Now we can take a look at all the changes it has made. As you can see here, it has made all of the buttons within the application a red accent, and it has also added our Issues tab to the Git panel. We don't currently have any issues or GitHub connection to this, so the panel itself is just as a proof of concept to show you that the architect can do multiple different tasks at the same time. You can also see it has darkened the look of the output panel here. I hope this has been informative to show you how the workflow goes inside of Brokk, how it can help you manage your code base in a timely and succinct fashion, and not only that, make multiple changes at the same time and have it all verified and working. So just to show you the difference between before and now, that is what Brokk looked like before, and this is the change that is made now.